All right. Hello, my name is Chris Zavala, and this presentation is going to describe Chapter 5 of Inclusion Strategies for Secondary Classrooms. This strategy for helping students with disabilities is titled Teaching the Concepts and Vocabulary of Our Disciplines. I chose this strategy because in music, helping students with exceptional learning needs, or ELN students, need the additional multisensory dimensions and structure in order to understand not only vocabulary in the music they read, but the concepts of different techniques they'll need to comprehend and create music as a performer and an artist. Some pertinent definitions to understand. To help you understand this particular strategy, some keywords to define will be the word taxonomic, mnemonic, graphic organizers, and kinesthetic. Taxonomic pertains to the classification of things and is normally used in biology. Mnemonic is any device used to help the understanding of a concept using an association to something else. It could be a saying, abbreviation, or auditory. Graphic organizers are a way of visually organizing and compiling information, and kinesthetic is another term for physical activity. Now, an overview of this strategy. This chapter has an emphasis on instruction that helps students relate new vocabulary to their background knowledge, methods to develop and elaborate their word knowledge, encourage students' involvement in learning new vocabulary, and instruction that will develop their ability to recognize new vocabulary independently. The several strategies presented are graphic organizers to help association to the terms and other methods used to ingrain information using other senses to build association aside from writing. Now, some examples from my fieldwork. In music, it is important for students to understand special phrases in the music, such as allegretto, or special characters that may emphasize certain notes or enhance melodies. Therefore, spending time with the vocabulary will benefit the entire class as well as give ample instruction for disabled learners to comprehend ideas and learn their specific parts. In my fieldwork, I have observed several elements of instruction that relate directly to 4 of the provided key strategies that are presented in this chapter. This will include the strategies of the taxonomic tree, keyword mnemonic strategy, and peer tutoring. And now, relating this to music. Each of these, I'm going to go through each of the strategies. The taxonomic tree works well in music because it provides a breakdown of what students are reading on their sheet music. Many times, it's assumed that musicians can read rhythms and play the notes at the same time because they've seen them before. However, a struggle that I remember having, and one that will be more common in students who maybe have a language barrier or a disability, is going to be combining what they see on the page, these unique rhythms, to melodic ideas, to what they should ultimately sound like. Also, having mnemonic strategies such as making sounds that relate to accents, as well as providing musical examples of the piece we're performing, and physical actions tied to how the music makes you feel or what it sounds like, will drive a level of connection to the vocabulary or special character that the musician needs to be able to act out for the musical ideas of the piece. Lastly, peer tutoring. Not only does it incentivize collaboration with their peers, but it will add a layer of social interaction with the rest of their section and remind them that each individual player and what they do individually creates art too. Regardless of how low their part is or how little they'll be playing in the piece, everything that they do benefits the band as a whole. Now, going into specifics, this benefits factual recalling and memorization. And it benefits memorization in the terms that they're learning. And having a list, that's why it's important for the instructor to have a list of important definitions on the board that can help the students, especially since in music, rather than full words, often there are special characters that show up on or around a note, such as in the image you can see on the bottom, the first dot or the triangles. They each have their specific names and meanings. Now, to assist with recalling these terms, it's vital to having musical material that contains these unique ideas and then spending class time to go over them. This recall is what will allow students to be able to read future pieces of music that may contain the same terms or the same accents on the notes that they're reading. Now, conceptually, To conceptually adjust these students to the material, it is important to have something to compare and contrast the definitions to. For this, you can use the key of a mnemonic strategy, such as acting out sounds and accents. In music, in these examples, the P, the italic P in music, piano means to play softer, represented by a lowercase p. And for that, you can whisper, you can put your hands down to close up your body language. Now, on the other hand, F or forte means to play louder. So instead of whispering, you're gonna scream forte. You can open up your body language and have wider arms so that they know that it means to get bigger. The same can be understood when learning about accents. You can say what the accents sound like. So the accent staccato means to play short. As a mnemonic device, you can make the sound physical by saying dot, because it's a dot, a very short, fast dot. And you can also pinch your fingers to kind of show that you're pinching the sound and cutting it off short. This physical and auditory version of the word will help the musician not only comprehend what the small dot over the music means, but also be able to copy and play the note in the manner intended when reading the dot. Now, procedurally, the procedural method to assist in learning music and vocabulary is going to be the use of the taxonomic tree for melodies. In the tree, you can write out a melody that they have in the music or break it down from there. Starting from the main idea, my example is of the Imperial March for a tuba player. Now, on the very top, you have the melody and how it's written out in the music. Next, you can split it up into the rhythm and the notes, and maybe even the accents or words surrounding the line. You can split up the rhythm into beats and the measure, and then you can even clap it out, and you can go over the accents that are on those beats, so they'll have a louder clap. On the other hand, you have the notes and what fingerings they are for the instrument. On the third branch, on this branch, you can see that we have G, E flat, and B. Then you see the fingerings for tuba for a G, for an E flat, and a B. And you can even break that down into the scale that they're playing in the piece. Now, finally, having the students work together in peer tutoring will assist in the metacognition or relationships the student has to the material. Most importantly, instructors should have sample recordings of the piece of music that the students can hear. This auditory example can be given to the section leaders or provided to the entire class so that they can now individually go into sectionals and practice their parts together. After responding to each other and ensuring their section is understanding their part of the music, we can have the students come back together and play the piece as a whole. Now, using this auditory example, they can relate to what they hear in the piece as a whole to what they should be performing as in their individual parts. So I'm going to show an example of the Imperial March. They can listen to what the other instruments are playing. Now the brass can compare to what the woodwinds are playing and vice versa. Ultimately, the main benefits of teaching the concepts and vocabulary of our disciplines is the association that the students will make between themselves and the material. The struggle they may have with connecting the dots to the main idea will be minimized because we're organizing their thoughts. Ultimately, this organization is a roadmap to bridging ideas and being able to learn new concepts and vocabulary in an organized and comparative way, creating connections to words and special characters using their other senses, like hearing, listening, seeing, sound, and social activities, is ultimately going to help them learn the material. All right, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.